1. Believe before you pray. What does it mean to pray without belief? It is like speaking into an empty cave, hoping for an echo, but hearing only the sound of your own voice. To believe is to root yourself in the depths of your own unconscious, to awaken the archetype of faith that already exists within you. Prayer without belief is hollow, a ritual of the lips. Belief is what transforms it into an act of the soul. Faith is not merely about religion. It is about trust in life itself, in the mysterious order of existence, in the unseen threads weaving meaning through the chaos. To pray is to align yourself with something greater than the narrow confines of the ego. But if you do not first believe, if you do not allow your inner being to accept the possibility of transcendence, then your prayer never rises beyond your own skepticism. Belief is the key that opens the door between the conscious and the unconscious. It is the force that allows the whisper of eternity to reach your heart. Without belief, your words are only noise. With belief, they become living energy, a dialogue with the deepest center of being. So before you pray, pause and ask yourself, do I believe? Do I trust that my words can move beyond sound and reach the eternal? Do I dare to open myself to mystery? For belief is not blind. It is a choice to step into the unknown and discover that life is not an accident, but a living pattern woven with intention. To believe before you pray is to prepare the soil before planting the seed. Without it, nothing grows. With it, even silence becomes prayer. 2. Listen before you speak. To listen is not merely to hear words. It is to open oneself to the soul behind the words. Too often we rush to speak, to impose our thoughts, our judgments, our truths upon others. But in doing so, we miss the living reality of the other person, the mystery of another psyche unfolding before us. Speaking without listening is like answering a question that was never asked. It reveals more of our own impatience than of any real wisdom. Listening is the act of surrendering the ego's need to dominate. It is a descent into silence, a willingness to let another voice echo within you. When you listen deeply, you encounter not just the outer message, but the inner symbols, the unspoken fears, the hidden desires. Listening, in this sense, becomes a form of communion, an encounter of souls. The danger of speaking without listening is that it breeds separation. We live in a world where conversations often resemble battles. One waits for the other to finish, not to understand, but to strike back with sharper words. This is not dialogue. It is conflict disguised as communication. But when you truly listen, you suspend the urge to reply, and instead you allow meaning to arise in the space between two beings. Listening also teaches humility. It reminds us that we do not possess all truth. Every voice carries a fragment of the collective story of humanity. To listen before speaking is to acknowledge that life itself has something to say through the other person, and sometimes what they carry may be the very message your soul has been waiting for. In Jungian thought, the unconscious often speaks in whispers, through dreams, symbols, or the words of others that strangely strike us. If we never listen, we miss those messages, those subtle guides that can redirect our path. Listening before speaking means honoring these inner signals as much as the outer voice of another human being. So pause before you speak. Let the silence ripen within you. Let the words of the other person shape your understanding. Then, when you do speak, your words will not be noise, but nourishment, born not from impulse, but from true connection. For only those who listen first can speak in a way that heals, unites, and awakens. 3. Earn before you spend. To spend without earning is to live in illusion, to take from the future what has not yet been created in the present. It is not only about money, it is about energy, effort, and meaning. Every act of spending, whether of wealth, time, or even emotion, must be rooted in something that has been cultivated, something earned through labor, discipline, and patience. When you earn before you spend, you honor the natural order of life. A seed must first be planted, nurtured, and grown before it can be harvested. To skip this order is to rob yourself of the wisdom of process. In the psyche, this principle is vital. To enjoy true satisfaction, there must first be sacrifice. To experience joy, there must first be work. Without earnings, spending becomes empty. It cannot fulfill the soul because it lacks the foundation of effort. Think of the archetype of the alchemist. He does not turn lead into gold overnight. He labors, studies, and refines his art. Only then is he worthy of the transformation. In the same way, if we spend without earning, we bypass the alchemical process that gives value to what we receive. Money without work breeds dependency. Love without giving breeds entitlement. Recognition without growth breeds arrogance. It is the earning that sanctifies the spending. This ethic is also about responsibility. When you earn before you spend, you stand in the truth of cause and effect. You learn discipline, you respect limits, and you grow in self-mastery. The opposites, spending before earning, creates chaos, debt, and dependence, not only in the world of finance, but also in the world of spirit. We see people bankrupt not just in money, but in character, because they wanted the fruit without sowing the seed. To earn is not punishment. It is participation in the rhythm of life. It is how the soul grows strong. To work, to create, to struggle, and then to enjoy what you have gained, is to feel the deep satisfaction that only comes when reward follows effort. So let your spending be a reflection of your earning. Let your joys be born from your labor, your celebrations from your sacrifices. Then what you spend will not vanish like smoke, but become meaningful, lasting, and life-giving, for only that which is earned can truly be enjoyed. 4. Think before you write. Writing is not a mere arrangement of words upon paper. It is the act of giving form to thought, of drawing something from the invisible depths of the psyche into the visible world. To write without thinking is to scatter seeds into barren soil. The words may exist, but they lack the living root that connects them to meaning. When you think before you write, you honor the power of language. Words are not neutral. They are symbols, carrying unconscious weight, shaping how others see, feel, and act. To write without reflection is to risk creating confusion, even harm, because words can wound as deeply as they can heal. Jung often spoke of how the unconscious communicates through symbols and images. Writing, too, is symbolic, and when thought precedes it, your words become vessels of clarity rather than noise. Thinking before writing is also an act of responsibility. A writer is never simply recording. They are shaping reality, casting ripples across the collective mind. One careless sentence can mislead, while one thoughtful line can ignite transformation. The difference lies in the space you create before pen touches paper, the space where you pause, reflect, and ask, what truth am I serving? What meaning am I giving birth to? This ethic applies not only to authors, but to every human being, for all of us are writers in one form or another. We write in letters, in digital messages, in journals, in the stories we tell ourselves and others, and these words endure. Once spoken or written, they cannot be undone. To think first is to honor their permanence. But thinking here does not mean overthinking. It does not mean paralyzing yourself with fear of imperfection. It means listening inward, allowing the unconscious to speak, and aligning your words with both reason and intuition. It means respecting the sacredness of expression. So before you write, pause. Let silence sharpen your clarity. Let your intention settle. Then write not only with your mind, but with your soul. For writing is not just communication. It is creation. And creation, when rooted in thought, carries the power to awaken, to heal, and to endure beyond your lifetime. 5. Try before you quit. The impulse to quit often arises not because the task is impossible, but because the ego resists the discomfort of failure, of struggle, of uncertainty. Yet the soul does not grow in comfort. It grows in friction, in the tension between what we are and what we might become. To quit before trying is to silence this inner process, to deny the psyche the chance to discover its own hidden strength. Trying is not simply about success or failure, it is about transformation. Every attempt awakens forces within you that remain dormant until tested. You may not always achieve the goal, but the act of trying reshapes your character, like a blacksmith tempering steel in fire. Jung taught us that wholeness comes not from avoidance but from confrontation. meeting the shadow, facing the unknown, daring to engage life directly. Trying, even in the face of failure, is such a confrontation. Quitting without trying is a surrender to fear. It leaves you with ghosts of regret, whispers of what could have been. These whispers haunt the unconscious, resurfacing as dissatisfaction, envy, or bitterness. But when you try, even if you fall short, you liberate yourself from that haunting. You can look at yourself with honesty and say, I stood in the arena, I did not shrink back. This is dignity. There is wisdom, too, in the attempt. Trying reveals the truth, whether a path is meant for you, whether an idea holds weight, whether your energy should flow elsewhere. Without trying, you remain blind, lost in speculation. With trying, you gain clarity. Even failure becomes a teacher, a symbol of what must be integrated or redirected. The ethic, then, is not about reckless persistence, but about courage. It is about honoring your potential enough to test it. To quit before trying is to betray yourself. To try, even once, is to give your soul a voice in the dialogue of life. So when despair tells you to quit, ask yourself first, have I truly tried? Have I given my effort the chance to reveal what is hidden within me? Only then can quitting be a conscious choice, not an escape. And more often than not, you will find that in the act of trying, something shifts. The impossible becomes possible, and the soul discovers its wings. 6. Live before you die. Death is inevitable, but life is not. Many people exist, but few truly live. To live before you die is to awaken from the sleep of habit, from the prison of fear, and from the illusions that keep you chained to mere survival. It is to encounter life not as a dull repetition of days, but as a profound mystery unfolding moment by moment. To live means to risk, to feel, to create, to love, and to suffer. The ego craves safety, predictability, control, but the soul longs for experience, for expansion, for a dance with the unknown. When you live fully, you invite both joy and sorrow, knowing that each deepens your humanity. Without this embrace, you may reach the end of your days only to realize you never touched the essence of being. You only skimmed its surface. Jung reminded us that the meaning of life is not found in avoiding death, but in integrating it. To live authentically, you must carry death as your companion, for it sharpens your awareness of time. The knowledge that life is finite awakens urgency, a call to live deliberately, not someday but now. Death whispers, do not waste your days. And if you listen, you will no longer postpone your dreams, your courage, your love. Living before dying also means meeting your inner self, the depths of your psyche. Most people live only in masks, the persona they show the world. But to live truly, you must go deeper, confronting shadow and light, discovering the wholeness of who you are. This is not comfort, it is transformation. Yet without it, you remain half awake, moving through life like a ghost. So live while breath is in you, speak the words you have buried, forgive while time remains, create what only you can bring into the world. Stand in awe before beauty, weep when grief comes, laugh with abandon when joy floods your chest. Do not wait for a future that may never arrive. One day death will come as it does for all, but if you have lived, truly lived, you will meet it not with terror but with peace. For the tragedy is not death itself. The tragedy is to have never lived at all.